Batista is arguably one of the most popular stars of the Ruthless Aggression era. His rise from being the muscle of Evolution to a WrestleMania main eventer was meteoric. Batista achieved great success in both tag team and singles competition, holding championship gold in WWE on 9 different occasions, including 6 world title reigns. Today, we are going to revisit those title wins using the power of WWE 2K24. If you do enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe if you are new. In late 2003, the WWE presented the Armageddon pay-per-view held in Orlando, Florida. A tag team turmoil match was held which had the World Tag Team Championships on the line. With little to no energy left, the Dudley boys would outlast their opponents, defeating Test and Scott Steiner in the final match to retain the titles. General Manager of Raw, Eric Bischoff, would make his way to the ring. Bischoff would say if you want to win tag team turmoil, you have to go through all of the teams, and there is one team left to compete. Out comes Batista and Ric Flair of Evolution, who head straight out to the ring. Flair and Batista would not mess about, as Flair would lock in the figure 4 on Bubba, and Batista would plant Devon into the mat with a Batista bomb, to become the World Tag Team Champions. Batista would win his first title in the WWE, and what better way than besides the legendary Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Batista and Flair would once again challenge for the World Tag Team Championships in March of 2004, on the draft episode of Monday Night Raw. The champions Rob Van Dam and Booker T would arrive, dead set on retaining the tag team gold. Both RVD and Booker T know the challenge that they face in Batista and the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. Flair and Batista would prove to be too much for RVD and Booker, as the power and domination displayed by Batista would result in defeat for Booker T and Rob Van Dam. Flair and Batista would once again capture the World Tag Team titles, and Batista would capture his second championship of his career. After winning the 2005 Royal Rumble, Evolution member Batista would be instructed by Triple H to go for JBL's WWE Championship over on SmackDown. Growing tired of being Evolution's muscle and determined to prove himself, Batista would ultimately choose to face his Evolution leader, Triple H, at WrestleMania. Batista would challenge the game for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21 on April 3, 2005 in Los Angeles, California. After a grueling battle, Batista would achieve glory in WWE, landing a Batista bomb to defeat the game and to become the World Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. Batista would climb the mountain, defeating his longtime ally and becoming the main event star he was destined to be. Although currently the World Heavyweight Champion now on the SmackDown brand, Batista would team with his friend Rey Mysterio to challenge for Eminem's WWE Tag Team Championship. In the midst of a feud with Raw at the time, the two top SmackDown stars in Batista and Mysterio would challenge for Tag Team Gold. Late in the match, Rey would finally get the hot tag to an enraged Batista. Batista would land a nicely executed back body drop to Joey Mercury before hitting a brutal clothesline to Johnny Nitro. Batista would land another clothesline, but this time to Mercury in the corner, before delivering shoulder strikes to Nitro at the opposite end of the ring. Batista would land a huge spear on Mercury before planting Nitro with a vicious spinebuster. Mysterio would get his move in by landing a 619 to Mercury, setting his opponent up nicely for a Batista bomb from the Animal. Batista would make the cover, and both he and Rey Mysterio would become the WWE Tag Team Champions. Batista would hold both the World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Tag Team Championship for a brief period, following this memorable match on SmackDown. Before Batista could challenge King Booker for the World Heavyweight Championship at Survivor Series 2006, General Manager of SmackDown Theodore Long would state that if King Booker gets himself disqualified or counted out, he will lose the World Heavyweight Championship. Batista would arrive in Philadelphia ready to become a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, but the veteran King Booker stands in his way. The King would make his presence known as he heads towards his title defence. Late in the match, Batista would almost have the match won with a spinebuster, but Booker would kick out at 2. Booker would return a move with the bookend, but Batista would also kick out. Batista would connect with a Batista bomb, but Booker's ring awareness would allow him to grab the ropes for a rope break. Queen Charmel would temporarily distract Batista, allowing Booker to attempt to hit Batista with the World Heavyweight title. Batista would strike Booker with the title and become a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion in the WWE. Batista would climb to the mountaintop once again as the year reached its end. At Unforgiven 2007 in Memphis, Tennessee, Batista would try to reclaim the World Heavyweight Championship once again, this time in a triple threat match against his ally Rey Mysterio and the World Heavyweight Champion, the Great Khali. Batista would have both Khali and Mysterio down as he sees victory on the horizon. Batista ultimately chooses to go for Khali as he lands a spinebuster on the champion to become World Heavyweight Champion for the third time in his career. Batista would climb to the mountaintop once again, this time vanquishing the Great Khali and defeating his friend in Rey Mysterio. At Cyber Sunday in Phoenix, Arizona in 2008, Batista would challenge World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho. As with all Cyber Sunday pay-per-view matches, the fans would have a say in the stipulation of the match. This time, they would be tasked with choosing a special guest referee, from Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, or the Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ultimately, the fans would choose Stone Cold Steve Austin, who would promptly make his way to the ring. Late in the match, Batista would accidentally knock Austin to the floor, which would allow Jericho to land a codebreaker. With Austin incapacitated, HBK would head out to make the cover, and surprisingly Michaels would refuse to count the fall, allowing Batista to kick out at 2. HBK and Jericho would get into a row, but Batista would catch Jericho with a spear. Michaels would attempt to make the cover, but JBL would appear, pulling Michaels out of the ring before delivering a clothesline to HBK. Stone Cold would get back to his feet in the ring, but Randy Orton would burst onto the scene, laying out Austin. Orton would attempt to help Jericho retain the title, but Steve Austin would catch Orton off guard, landing a Stone Cold Stunner. Batista would finally land a Batista Bomb on Jericho as Stone Cold counts to 3, crowning Batista as a 4-time World Heavyweight Champion. In June of 2009, back on Monday Night Raw, Batista would challenge WWE Champion Randy Orton for the title inside a steel cage, the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Batista would arrive first, determined to defeat Orton inside the cage and become WWE Champion for the first time. Batista gets another opportunity at the title after Rhodes and DiBiase interfered at the Judgment Day pay-per-view, causing Orton to win by disqualification. The steel cage would ultimately prevent Rhodes and DiBiase from interfering and would allow Batista to land a Batista Bomb late in the match, defeating Orton and becoming WWE Champion for the first time in his career. In a grueling Elimination Chamber match in February of 2010, John Cena would finally defeat Triple H in the closing moments of the match with an STF submission to win the WWE Championship. But before Cena would even have the chance to get back to his feet, Mr. McMahon would head out to the stage. McMahon would punish Cena for his allegiance with Bret Hart. McMahon would say that Cena will make it to WrestleMania, but only if he can beat this man. Out comes the Animal Batista, now a heel, set on destroying John Cena and becoming WWE Champion. With virtually no energy left, Cena would land a punch on Batista, but the Animal would punish him with a brutal spear, before following up with a Batista Bomb to defeat John Cena and become the WWE Champion for the second time in his career. This win would ultimately mark Batista's final championship victory in his career, before promptly leaving his first WWE run later that year. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. You are welcome to support my channel for just 99 cents per month, where you can access videos early, gain loyalty badges and more. As always, I'll see you on the next one.